Meantime, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the latest act of political violence in our country.
Dr. Richard Levack joining us now to talk about the impacts they have on our nation. Dr. Levack, good morning and thank you for being here. I think a lot of people now that the suspect has been found are starting to ask the question, why? Why would someone turn to violence like this to solve issues?
The problem, as a psychologist, watching over the past few years, the discourse in our country has become increasingly polarized and nasty. In a democracy, there are understood, non-written rules of engagement, politeness, sticking to the facts, not attacking the person. Over the past few years, both sides of the political spectrum have been given permission to call each other names, to call each other scum, fascists. And what happens is when the leaders behave badly, the kids behave badly. You have a couple, mom and dad in the front seat of the car arguing, the kids in the back start kicking each other. We have allowed the discourse in our country to become nasty. And the problem with this shooting is it's going to bring about a shooting against the other side because people are fragile psychologically. There are many people who are not obviously disturbed, but when they see violence and they're given a chance to do something they think is noble, they will do it. And this is very upsetting as a psychologist because I'm seeing the collapse of decorum, which is the very basis of democracy.
You said, you answered my question before I even asked it because I wanted to ask you about why do politics cause this kind of division and why does it lead to violence? It's because of, you mentioned the word nobility, just noble. They think they're doing something noble. That is right. That is the only way. It is my way is the correct way. Your way is the wrong way. This the thought of nobility in your beliefs. How do you adjust and how do you take people from that belief to accept that there are other people who have different beliefs and that this whole country was built on the fact that we can have civil debate.
Right.
And then if you disagree and I disagree, we put it to a vote, and whoever has the most votes win. It's the simple fact of democracy. We can't go killing each other if you disagree.
And shame, which keeps us on the right track, has over time got a bad rap. People, politicians lying, calling each other names, doing terrible things, they don't feel ashamed. And it then gives the other side, well, you did it, I'm going to do it. It's really dangerous over time that the rules of engagement, politeness, decency, are no longer valued.
Well, those things are now seen as weakness.
They're seen as weakness. And
when it's actually strength.
It's actually strength to hold back to, and look, I don't care what your political views are, but pardoning the January the 6th rioters has given people the idea that in the name of a good cause, which is their political view, you're allowed to be violent because the other side deserves to be punished. And it's dangerous. You can see I'm pretty passionate about it.
They felt their cause was noble.
My cause is noble. There will be a tit for tat. And we keep getting these press conferences where they talk about how well everybody did finding the suspect.
They pat themselves on the back.
On the back, but why doesn't anyone say, this has got to stop? We can't have mentally ill people with guns, machine guns and rifles. It's somebody's, now, you're going to ask me, what can we do? What we can do is President Trump and the Democrats should get up in front of the country and say, we have both behaved badly. We have allowed our discussion to devolve into nastiness and name-calling. From now on, we are going to stop. Both of them have to show that they can work together. I would do it in a press conference after this, that we have both been mean to each other, nasty, we've broken the rules of civility. From now on, Americans, we've got to find our center and learn to talk to one another.
I want to stay in this world of psychology with you. That
Yes.
You and I have had many discussions. Over the past few years, as we see these shootings happen, whether it's in a scenario like this or even school shootings, I have noticed the trend of these very young teenagers, people in their 20s,
Absolutely.
30s. As a mother, and I was
Yes.
just telling Christy and Raul this in commercial break, every time this happens, my mind as a mom goes to their parents. And I say,
Yeah.
there was a time that this was a baby. This was a laughing,
That's it.
giggly, happy little baby running around. What happens? What happens to a person? Is this, we don't want to blame parents. We don't know the situation, like, for
That's
example,
right.
to this. But is this learned behavior?
It's something that occurs over time. You get a teenager who's living in the basement, playing video games till 2 in the morning, smoking pot all the time. I think legal pot so strong that these young men, and it's a young men's scourge, who are playing video games in the basement, social media, they find a group that agrees with them, and then young, impressionable, they get incited and encouraged, and they talk about it with their friends on social media, not with their parents. So your job as a parent is to communicate. Say, hey, listen, you seem to be very interested in left-wing or right-wing things. Talk about that. And stay connected to your kids, because they will tell you, oh, I just hate that Kurt guy, I'm going to kill him.
As we're hearing in this press conference, or their news conference, they just said that there was discussion within family at a recent dinner where he was making comments like this.
That's right. And if that happens, take it seriously, especially if you're young man, young woman, mostly young men, don't have a life. If their life is in flux, if they're not going to school, if they don't have a job, they're much more likely to have no guardrails and no reality testing from other people who say, you're bonkers, I'm going to tell the
Reality
supervisor.
testing is the key. We've talked so many times on here about there's a certain age where your full frontal lobe is not developed.
Exactly.
And that is a scientific fact up until I think the age of, what, 24, 25 years old.
Exactly.
It's no coincidence many of these suspects end up being in that young man, 18 to 25 age group. That's been studied.
Exactly. But
How do you say, okay, parents need to, but that's easier said than done, isn't it?
yes, it is. But we also have to have our politicians, instead of every time telling
There has to be a
people
lead by example, is what you're saying.
Right. Instead of talking about let's pray, let's do something. And politicians, it's your role, and people watching, what you can do is write to your congressman, write to your assembly person, say, I want to see decent behavior. I want name calling to stop.
Well, even this week on the floor of the House of Representatives, there was screaming and yelling and name calling. That's
Right.
what it's devolved into that now, and
Right.
that's the accepted, almost the norm now.
Exactly, exactly. And that is dangerous. That is the way over time. I'm not saying we're going to have a civil war, but we are certainly going to get a lot worse before we get a leader who says, I am not going to behave in a nasty, brutish way, name calling and calling the other side scum, and we will not accept violent, nasty behavior.
You think about what every elementary school in this country is
Yes.
teaching our young kids. What are they teaching? They're teaching kindness, they're teaching respect, they're teaching speak to each other with a certain level of civility. They're teaching this to 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds.
Right. Why?
And then you see the adult, and it goes to what Shali said. What happens along the path, nature versus nurture, that leads from those teachings to adults who completely disrespect and name call each other with no consequence.
That's exactly right. Makes me very emotional as a psychologist, because I see it. I'll meet them in my practice, someone who's collecting guns, going to Colorado to collect guns, I think illegally, I'm not sure. I can't do anything about that. I can't call someone and say, I'm worried about this guy, unless he actually says he's going to kill himself or someone. Obviously, for ethical reasons, I can't. But does it scare me? Do I hear people saying, oh, we're going to buy property in Canada because we're scared of where this country's going? I have people who say that. And that is bad. We need the politicians. Get up there, President Trump, with the Democrats, stand together and say, we're apologize for name-calling each other. This has got to stop. Think about how Americans would respond to that.
Dr. Levack.
I wish that was actually something we could see. Dr. Richard Levack, thank you again.